So the definition of a composite number, then if prime number has only two factors, a composite number is one that has more than two factors, okay? Wonderful. We're going to do this example. So it says, find the prime factors of 50 by drawing a factor tree. Write 50 as a product of its prime factors in index form. So there are several things that we're going to do here. The first thing, I'm going to show you how to draw a factor tree. That's the first thing that I'm going to do. And the second thing that I'm going to show you is how to write the prime factors in index form. So that's the two things that I'm going to be doing in this video, okay? So wonderful. We're going to start with here. So we start with number 50. That's where we're being asked to break up into its prime factors. So I want you to think about prime factors as like the building blocks of numbers. They're going to help you to work with numbers in very flexible ways and making your calculations very, very easy, okay? So when I have a number like 50, I can break it up into its building blocks, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to open two branches. And those two branches, you're going to say, okay, 50, I'm going to divide it into two numbers. Those two numbers, you can choose whatever you want. So in this case, I'm going to go with 5 and 10. I'm going to do it, this one, I'm going to do it twice, 50, because I want to show you that it doesn't matter which numbers I pick, as long as I complete the whole process, I will get to the same result, okay? So I'm saying 50, I can divide it by 5, and if I divide it by 5, I know that I get 10. That's my answer, okay? It's also important to know that you're going to be using this list of prime numbers with your multiplication grid, okay? I don't have it here right now, pasted here, but you should have both open all the time, okay? So when you have done this, you're going to ask, are any of these factors of 50 that I just found are prime numbers? So we know that 5 is a prime number. Because 5 is a prime number, you circle it. So you always circle when you find a prime number. 10 is not. I know that 10 is not. 10 will be here. 10 is not. So I continue asking, and I'm going to say, now 10, I'm going to open two branches here. And I'm going to find two numbers that I can multiply to get to 10. There is only one condition here. The only number that I cannot use is 1, because it's not useful to use 1. So when doing these branches, the only number that I cannot use is 1, because I could go on 10 and 1, and that's not going to be useful. So what number that are not 10 and 1 can I use here as factors? I can go and say, okay, I can divide by 2 and 5. Is 2 a prime number? Yes, it is. And 25? Yes, it is. Wonderful. So I said that I was going to do it twice. I will do it down here because I want to show you that we come up to the same result. Let's say that when you start with 50, you say, I want to start dividing it by 25. And if I divide it by 25, I know that I will get 2. Those are my two branches. And then I know that 2 is going to be a prime number. So cross it up. Then 25. What happens with 25? I can open up two branches as well. And then say, okay, 25. I can only do 5 and 5. And I want you to notice that the result that I have here of prime factor was 1, 2, 1, 5, and another 5. And here, 1, 2, 1, 5, and another 5. So regardless of where you start, you will always get to the same answer. So you can write 50. So this is what is talking about drawing the factor tree. So in your notes, I want you to write that this is called a factor tree. Okay, now when I write 50 as a product of its prime factors, so we have to know certain things here that are very important. When they talk about product in maths, it means they want you to times, they want to use multiplication. So how can I write 50 as a product of its prime factors? I already know that its prime factors are 2, 5, and 5. So what we do, and I recommend you always start with the smallest one. Which one is the smallest one? Is a 2. Agree? So you're going to do 2 times 5 and times another 5, which you will agree that makes perfect sense, because I know that 2 times 5 is 10, times 5 is 50, or I could have done 5 times 5, 25, times 2, 50. So that's what I'm saying here. And this, what I have written here, is when we call it, we have written 50 as a product. Copy this in your notes, please, girls, as a product of its prime factors. Okay, wonderful. So we have factor 3 here. You can even put it in different color. We have factor 3 here. And we have here product of its prime factors. But be careful, that's not what the question is asking us. The question is asking us to write the prime factors in index form. So some of you might have learned this in primary school, others you might not. That's okay. The only thing that you have to remember is here. I'm going to do it here, 50. How many 2's do I have? Only 1. So I only write that 2 like that. But how many 5's do I have? I have 2. So I can summarize this by writing it as 5, and I have 2 5's. The only thing, this little number here is what is called an index. The only thing that you have to be very careful with these index numbers, and I'm going to do that as a note here, and I want you to write it here, 5 to the power of 2, or 5 squared, as is read, is not the same as 5 times 2. That's a mistake that a lot of girls do, a lot of students in general do, because we see that the little two, we think that is 5 times 2, and that's not what it is. What it is, it's saying that we're doing 5 times 5, so we're timesing this number twice. We're saying that I have 2 5 here. When I have that, I'm saying that I have 2 5's here. So be very, very careful and write that like this. And when we have done this, what I have here, in your notes, please write this is 50 as a product. Again, that word is important, that you start getting used to that word, product. Product meaning that I have multiplied its factors of its prime factors in index form. Prime factors in index form. And super important that you highlight that this part saying that it's index form, and by index form, then I want you to write this in your notes. Index form means that 5 to the power 2 is not that, but what it is. This 5 to the power of 2 means 5 times 5. That's what it means. So it's not that one, but it's this one. Okay? Wonderful, girls.